That's right. We are back. Hola, mi gente bella. ¿Qué tal? This is your girl, Amara la Negra, and you're listening to Exactly Amara.
I love how you said that.
A production of iHeartRadio. We are so grateful that you guys keep coming back every Thursday. We're so excited. I love the fact that you love listening to us because we're unapologetic. We are transparent. We are organic and as real as it gets. Y talking about realness, I couldn't do this show without my co-host, mi pana. Óyeme, como él no hay otro. I just love him. Stevey Núñez. Oh, Núñez.
Núñez. No, it's
Ahora
Núñez.
tú quieres que sea Núñez.
It depends where you at, what part of the country in the world you're at. It's either Núñez or Núñez.
Yo pensaba como buena latina que es Núñez. Pero then Núñez is como more Americanized.
Núñez, darling.
Well, anyways.
How are you?
Serious. I'm good, babe, pero no te voy a mentir. I'm good, but I've been working a lot. I've been going through so many things. I am filming for Love and Hip Hop right now. I'm working on another TV show. I have my podcast every Thursday. I'm working on my real estate. I'm taking care of my children, which is my mom and my dad. It's just a lot. I feel like
your mental good after that?
Exactly. To be honest, I'm not even going to front. I think that, on social media and stuff like that, we make sure that we look as good as possible and we be finessing it and faking it. But on the low, when I close these doors, I be stressed the hell out. And I never really like understood or knew how serious mental health is. Like, this is really like a thing. Like, everybody's so concerned about our bodies, taking care of everything else, que si la cirugía, que si el pelo, que your nails, que your lashes, que your hair, que all this crap. But then I'm like, wait a second, that's good. And I get that part. But what type of like salon do they have for my brain? Do they have like somewhere where I can go and relax my brain and give some beauty and love, a cariñito to my brain? Because I be stressed out.
You ain't lying.
You
ain't lying because let's talk about the most thing that drives people crazy is how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to, go through relationships. How are they going to, like, there's so much. And mind you, we're in the middle of a pandemic, Amara. So, so it's stressful enough. How the hell
the pandemic, the pandemic.
Oh my goodness.
No, the pandemic really, really stressed out a lot of people. And that's why I felt like today is such an important day to talk about mental health, okay? And I also think that it's also not just to talk about it, but to talk about what can we do to fix it? What can we do to spread more awareness in our communities? And not only that, but amongst the Latino community, you know que a veces los padres latinos, they can be a little bit judgmental and they have that cultural mindset.
A little bit.
Yo no necesito ir a un terapista. Like, I'm not crazy. Eso pa lo loco. Or this and that. And it's like, who said that? ¿Quién dijo? So sometimes you just need someone to talk to. Sometimes these people, they go to school for this. Like, they study this. Sometimes we just need that extra help to just help us clear our minds. And when you go to the right therapist, or the right person, they can help you tap into certain emotions, certain feelings, certain thoughts that you didn't even know about yourself. And that's why, to talk about this very much so serious topic like it is mental health, today I have an amazing guest. She comes from the Get Your Mind Right nonprofit organization, Paulina Roe. What is poppin', girl?
Hi, how you guys doing? Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining us. And I am so grateful and so happy with what you're doing. This is huge. This is amazing. For those that may not know, Get Your Mind Right, can you let them know a little bit what the nonprofit organization is about? How does it work? What it is?
Yes, for sure. Again, thank you guys for having me and for highlighting this really important conversation. Everything you said was very true. Mara, you got a lot going on, so we're going to take care of your mentals as best as we can. It's stressful, and that's why with Get Your Mind Right. So we're located here in Chicago, and we are considered therapy for the hood because we are a part of Healthy Hood Chicago, which is a nonprofit as well, and it's located here in the Pilsen neighborhood of Chicago, Mexican-American neighborhood, and, they provide affordable classes, like as in working out, right? And getting your exercise in, $5 classes, $5 yoga classes, which in Chicago, you don't find that, you know what I mean? So Healthy Hood does amazing work in the community as well. So when we, the founder and I, Tanya Lozano, when we got together, we're like, what can we do? Because she founded Healthy Hood Chicago. So we were like, what can we do to provide mental health, like resources, right? Access to just therapy, to just opening this conversation. So we started Get Your Mind Right. It's the like mental health initiative, and basically we've recruited over 80 licensed professionals, and we call them healers because there's all types of healing, right? It's like we have physical therapists that come in, we have licensed psychiatrists, and we have counselors that work in schools. I mean, we've got everybody. We have Reiki healers. I'm really big on the Reiki too as well.
I was gonna say un brujo no tiene.
And it's amazing because they all volunteer to give back to the community, to provide these, this accessible, I would say, like help to the community, which is very much needed, especially for our people. We'll definitely get more into that as well. But yes, we're located here in Chicago. We started this, we're hoping to grow here in the city, but also like nationwide, because I talk to people from other cities, and this is very necessary.
What exactly, I heard you mention it, but what exactly is therapy for hood mean?
So we say therapy for the hood because in the hood, that's where Pilsen is located. Here in Chicago, we have a lot of, like barrios, right? We have a lot of communities. So Pilsen is a neighborhood. So everybody says, oh, you're from the hood, you're from the Pilsen neighborhood. So we kind of said that with pride because we want to provide these resources to underserved communities. Unfortunately, a lot of these communities here in Chicago, and I'm sure everywhere in the U.S., there are communities that are lacking resources, and we're trying to change that as well. But with our initiative, we want to break stigma, we want to open the conversation, and more importantly, provide these resources to the hood. So bringing the therapists in, right? People usually go, at least from our neighborhoods over here, if you want to go to see a therapist, you're most likely coming to downtown Chicago, right? Or you're going to the north side, which is a more prestigious area in Chicago. So we wanted to bring it.
That probably needs all the therapy in the world, but they have the resources too. So that's why I'm grateful for you. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem too. Like in Chicago specifically, there have been a lot of budget cuts on schools and just access to mental health clinics that have been shut down, specifically in Chicago neighborhoods in the South Side. So it's a whole thing, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate just hearing to that. Whether it's their neighborhood or a neighborhood they've heard of, with these clinics being shut down, and there's all this access to what we need most, which is mental health help. So we kind of
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you sound so passionate behind your organization and what you do and what you stand for. What do you feel that exactly inspired you out of all the things that you could have done? Did you go through a moment that you felt like you needed, some mental health assistance, or what motivated you to want to start this organization?
Whew, Amara, where do I start? So here's the thing. Listen, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this as well. So for a living, I do radio in Chicago, iHeartRadio. I'm part of the Fred Show. And, coming into this space, I felt like I never really heard the term mental health. Yes, I probably heard it like in passing, right? But I never actually knew what that meant. I just thought like, growing up, unfortunately, I thought a little different. Growing up, I thought, because I get this from my mom a lot, single mom, she raised me by herself. You have to be strong all the time. And trust me, like I pride women on their strength. Like, we have strength like no other. And that is just like, not even a question. But looking into it, you know what I'm saying? But looking into it now, I'm like, my mom was strong, but she was fighting her own demons. Like she had her own issues, but we don't look at our parents like that. We look at them as heroes and they've done so much, but what are they really battling with, right? So as I got older, I felt like I was trying to break that narrative of like, listen, like, you can't have problems. Like I used to look at people, for example, with money, celebrities, or just rich people, right? And they'd say they're depressed or they were suicidal. I used to be like, you have money. Why are you like feeling that? That can't be real, right? You have money.
More money, more problems.
I mean, for real.
Who are you telling?
Growing up, I used to think like you used to have to fight your own battles. Meaning, like, if you didn't feel like doing something because you were like, you're not upset, but like if you were, falling into depression or anxiety. I realized 2 years ago I had anxiety my whole life. I'm like, that's what that was? You know what I mean? But growing up, like, you're kind of told to deal with those emotions, because we always want to be viewed as strong, right? And be and you know, we have bills to pay, we have children to feed. Like, that was never a thing. A mental health day, I just discovered that a couple years ago, what that meant. And the reason I bring that up too is because I saw a really interesting tweet, right? And it was like, retweet this if you've had to lie to your employer or to whomever, that you were going to do something else that day, right? That's why you took the day off of work. But in reality, you just needed a mental health day. And I was like, oh, that's me. I've lied so many times. Oh, I'm sick. My throat hurts. Oh, I'm whatever, right? Not feeling good. I had bad food last night. But in reality, I just couldn't get out of bed that day. And I couldn't process what was going on with me because I fell into a slight depression. So I feel like let's be honest, we shame a lot of times, right? We shame ourselves, we shame each other. I heard you mention earlier too, going to therapy was considered for, oh, you're not local, like the locals go there. So I would be like,
Right.
but like, why do I have to be crazy to ask for help? I think truthfully, Amara and Stevie, I really think that asking for help is the biggest sign of strength. I truly believe that now. I think it's the strongest thing somebody can do. I know a lot of times it's viewed as weakness, like, why are you asking for help? You can't handle this yourself. Well, in reality, mental health, and just to be clear too, like, I'm not licensed, I'm not none of that. I'm just somebody who truly understands it a lot more now at this point in my life. And I'm also somebody who cares. I want to help break the stigma, but I feel like it is the strongest thing you can do is truly to ask for help. Like, we cannot deal with all that we have going on sometimes in our heads by ourselves. And there's different avenues. I kind of talked about, get your mind right. We have different types of healing because I also personally truly believe that we kind of heal differently. You know what I mean? Some people love meditating, they love journaling, and that's transformed their lives. You know what I mean? And it can be something like that. Some people require actual evaluation, and they actually require medication, so that's something that a route they would have to go on, and we cannot shame people for taking medication, because that is what helps them.
And is it important to have a therapist that could relate to you? Like, my therapist was Dominican, and Amara always says that. But she's Dominican. She was a woman. She's a strong woman, and I feel like she understood me. And a lot of my issues that I had was with my mother. So I felt like I needed a woman to kind of explain to me and get me through this. And another thing that I wanted to touch on that you had said, which is a great point, is that it does take a strong person to get there to get therapy, only because you're getting past the bochorno part. Like, some people are embarrassed, and you're like, you know what? After I need help, yo necesito ayuda ahora, porque si no me voy a volver loco for real, for real. And it's crazy that our parents and, la gente de antes used to say, oh, eso pa lo loco. But they would go to their therapist y el bochinchero. Ay, fulana, pero tú no sabes que I'm going through this. And then when they used to get an opinion, it would be even worse. Because how could the miserable help the miserable? So it is very important.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give you all the props, Steve, because I never knew that you went through a therapy and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna front. I've always been como que very curious. I want someone to help me because I'm not gonna front. As much as I try to be the strong Black woman and I'm independent, yo soy poderosa, and I can do all these things, I have a lot of things in my mind, and I have a lot of childhood traumas of a lot of things that have happened from me, from the absence of my father, to things that they did to me physically when I was younger, that a lot of girls, go through sexual abuse or things like this that you never talk about it openly because you're afraid of the way that people are going to see you or judge you or whatever. So I just have so many traumas inside that I just cover up with work. Like, just keep me busy. I want to work, and I'm exhausted, and I just want to sleep, wake up, and just keep working. And it's like, yeah, but there comes a day como que you just fall apart. You need to heal from the inside out. It's not just looking good, but it's taking care of that part too. But there's a part of me that feels like, coño, if I go to a therapist, are they going to put my business out there afterwards? Who are they going to talk to? You know what I'm saying? Like, me da un poquito de miedo to like completely open and expose all my life to this stranger. And then on top of that, I got to pay you. I got to pay you to tell you all my business. But I know that it's not about the money. It's really about that healing part. It's just it's like going to church. You need to find that right pastor that just clicks for you. I think the same thing happens with a therapist. There's a lot of them, but you need to find that one person that just clicks for you, that you feel like, so you get me, you understand me. And I don't think you just find that by just finding any therapist. I think you might have to go to different ones till you find the one that like you can relate to.
That's how I feel. So like it's almost like dating in a way, and it's very interesting because yes, I've always felt like if I want a therapist, I should have somebody that maybe can relate to my experiences. If I talk about, for example, an issue in the Latino community, I would want my therapist to understand, right, or even like know what I'm saying. With that being said, though,
Right.
I did have a white woman therapist. I really liked her, but I felt like because I'm dating a Mexican man, so there's some stuff in that relationship.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, like I love my man, but like I am not here for like certain. And he's not like this, but it's just like the machismo, like that's just like typical stuff that sometimes we hear in the Latino community when it comes to our men. My boyfriend's not like that, but
Right.
it's a topic surrounding us. So I don't know if she
There's some potential in there.
Thank you. So I don't know if she really understood that part, and I really liked her. But I'm gonna start searching for a Latina. I want a woman, preferably. It's interesting. Another radio personality who talks about mental health a lot. He told me that he goes to a Asian woman, and he's a black man, and he said he prefers that because he doesn't want a biased opinion. I thought that was interesting.
Okay, so I'll have this. I know that I'm asking you so much questions. Te tengo que tener loca. I'm sorry. I just want to ask you everything. I don't know what's going on. And I need the help. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people listening right now that have had all these questions, that feel curious as hell, but don't know where to go, how to ask, don't want to feel crazy, whatever the case may be. This is the judgment-free zone. We're not here to judge you. We're just here to be your friend and rock with you. You feel me? Like, not for nothing, all these celebrities, all these famous people that you see, all these people with money, everybody's stressed the hell. Everybody's stressed the fuck out here in these streets. Don't feel that you're the only one, because you're not. Whether it is your kids, your bills, your man, your girl, your mama, your daddy, whatever it is, everybody has some internal issues that they have to heal as well. So I'll ask you this, Paulina, since I won't say that you're like the expert, because you said that, you don't have a degree on it, but you're just a helping heart that wants to, give a platform for those that are in need. For those fellow Latinos, and let's talk about our Latino community, right, that are very judgmental when it comes to the mental health. What advice would you give to those girls, to those guys that want to take therapy, but are afraid of the way that their family or their friends may look at them for going out and asking for help?
For sure. Listen, I mean, there unfortunately is a lot of stigma and judgment in our families and our community, and it makes me sad, but that's why I do what I do. I want to be able to help kind of break that. And as far as advice, I think the way to approach it, there are resources out there, and I want to shout out as well Latinx therapist. She's amazing. So she actually has a bunch of like information on her platform of ways to literally talk to your family, including in Spanish. A lot of times these words, we're not sure how to even translate them. She provides all that information. You can always look that up too on good old Google or wherever you want to check that out. But she's great. Latinx therapist, for example, of just talking to your family. I mean, that's truly the way to start breaking the stigma. And like, unfortunately, we might have to still be prepared for that feedback, that negative feedback that we may not want to hear or we know is not true. But that's the thing. Our families, how do I say this? We carry around, you said this too, Amara, like the childhood trauma, right? I truly think our parents did the best they could at the time they could with what they had,
Yes.
And with that being said, I don't think a lot of that stuff even applies to today. I mean, let's be real, like, things that were like maybe okay or whatever, like 20 years ago, whatever, that is not even the case anymore. So I truly think like talking to your family about certain things, opening that conversation will slowly kind of start to break that stigma and to be able to have your family understand. Granted, there will be family, there will be friends, whoever, that may never want to change their mind, but what you can do, I think, is your part of opening that conversation. My mom was someone who never believed in it, and now she's 52 years old now. Like, she's opening her eyes to all of this. She's teaching me things about mental health. I was like, wow, my mom, the woman who told me not to cry at this over that, you know what I mean? Who told me that I need to be stronger all the time, which I am a strong woman, and I, bless her for that, because she made me a strong woman.
And let's talk, I know that we're talking about us because we're the new generation and we're youthful and all these great things, pero también, let's talk a little bit about our parents. Our parents sometimes, like you said before, they did the best that they could with the resources that they had. A lot of parents may have not raised you the way that you thought that they should have, or whatever the case may be, but that's because they also needed some therapy. They also needed some assistance and they weren't able to receive it. So now that you know better, Now that you have a platform, it's never too late to go to therapy. There's no age limit to this. They get, oh, I'm too old for this. Who said that? There's no age limit to therapy. You can go with your mom. You can go with your dad. If you feel that you have some, like, because there's some people that hold in grudges. If you have some grudges that you've been holding in with your dad or your mom or your sister or whoever it is, you can still go to therapy and be like, look, my therapy session is not just for me. I need to have some healing with this significant other, whoever it may be. And you could do it in pareja. It's not just therapy for couples. It could be for your family, for your kids. If your kids are wilding out and acting rebellious and God knows what the hell is going on, maybe they need some therapy too. They could be 8, 9, 10 years old. There's no limit to this. It's like she said, if you need help, there's nothing more powerful, nothing that shows more strength in you than the fact that you were willing to ask for help.
Admitting that something is happening could really take you to the next level of life. But, you know, I am going to call like Ayala Fix My Life or something like that on OWN. Maybe she would do a good job on you.
I think it would be great. Lo único que mami no habla English. Her English is very terrible. I don't think if that's going to work. I think I need to find a therapist that speaks Spanglish, Spanish, or that can because that's another thing. And talking about igual nuestra cultura and the Latino community, don't find you someone that you're gonna have difficulties explaining and opening yourself. They're not gonna understand how to translate. Find you someone that can speak your language. That's cool too. You know, a lot of the traumas that kids have come from from the childhood. Even mira los chancletazos. Those that were raised with that chancleta in the hand or with the wire, ¿cómo se dice? El gancho or the hanger, the wire hanger or whatever. Sometimes parents just didn't know how to deal with you and they just felt como que si te doy un garnotón, una galleta, un piñazo, un cocotazo, this is the easiest way to deal with it and that's it. And it's like, no, by doing that, you're just suppressing the issue. Let's talk about it. What is wrong? What is getting you so angry? What is upsetting you? A lot of times parents get divorced and they don't understand how that divorce can affect their children. There's so many endless topics that can cause these unstable, you know, mental health issues that later on you carry to you're an adult and you're thinking, no, bueno, ya eso pasó, I'm over it. And deep down inside, you're really not. And that can carry into the way that you handle relationships, friendships, the type of men and people that you attract in your life. All of those things.
Yes.
You really need to heal. And God knows I'm speaking como que I'm talking to myself like, mija, you attract these people because you haven't been able to heal 100%. You just cover it up with work and being pretty. And it's like, no, you need to heal that. So here's another question. Esto es importante también. Okay, so now that we already spoke about it, now that we know that we need it, now that we know that it's important, two things. One, how do you know that you need mental health? What are the signs that you need mental health or that you have anxiety or whatever? That's one question. And two, where can we go? If you may not be in Chicago, if people may not be part of your organization, like for example, I'm in Miami, Stevie is in Florida, estamos cerca, pero how can we ask for help locally?
So I heard this once. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but I kind of see what this, sentence says, I guess. Everybody should go to therapy. As simple as that, right? That's what I've heard. Now, granted, that's coming from also a privileged place, though, because not everybody is documented. Not everybody has access to mental health resources. Not everybody has health insurance. I totally understand. That's why we do what we do, right? To get your mind right.
Wait, and the insurance covers it?
It can, if you look it up. You have to make sure that, yes, look in your network. I'm not really too familiar with that as well, but you do look up in your network to see if your insurance will cover it or a portion of it. I know people who have, get their stuff paid for. I know, but that doesn't always mean it'll be a therapist you want, right? So if you look up a therapist and you really like her and you want to go to her or him, then I would look into that as well. But yes, some insurance does cover. So with that being said, everyone, should be in therapy or should go to therapy or give it a try. I agree with that. I'm not going to lie. Now, for ways to know, like, I've read, a lot of things on this too as well. And it's just like, there are tell signs, right? There are signs of, I get really anxious when, for no reason, right? Anxiety, literally, I could be sitting here right now, I don't know, like drinking my coffee, and I'll start thinking about, I don't know, last week and how I didn't submit this thing for work or something, or I did submit it, but was it good? Did my boss like it? And like, anxiety can literally take over my brain, and it's
or like when I see a cop car, whenever I see the police, I get anxiety.
then that's fair, because it's all, but that's also like, systemic racism. There's a lot of rooted stuff just in there itself, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So with that being said too, yes, anxiety, I think, truthfully, I think a lot of the population has anxiety, especially, I mean, the world that we live in today. There's a lot of stuff going on politically. Obviously, we know that. As far as our own climate, as far as hurricanes happening, like it's a lot for people right now. People are really going through it. So with that being said, people say depression, right? That's like another sign that you should go to therapy or look into certain medications. Depression, I mean, it's not just like having a bad day. People think, especially our family, think you can't be depressed, you're having a bad day, right? Like, oh, just go whatever, go, do this, whatever, you'll be fine. And it's not like that. It's literally a chemical imbalance in your brain. And depression can linger where you can be high functioning, you can still go to work, you can still do these things. Some depression, doesn't let you get out of bed. It really depends. So if that's something you feel like you may be suffering from or experiencing, I would definitely recommend seeking help for that, for sure. Depression is not, it's not good. Obviously, we know that, but it's also, it can lead to other things. And nobody wants to talk about obviously suicide, but that's another. If you're feeling suicidal, I 1,000,000,000% recommend seeking mental health help, or treatment. That's something else too that I feel like we don't take as serious in our community as well. And I know there have been studies done. I want to say maybe 2 years ago, I don't want to misquote myself, but there was a study done that showed that Latinas, young women, I want to say like 20s, they were the highest rate of suicides at one point, like maybe 2 years ago.
Crazy.
Yes, it really made me upset just reading that and hearing that, you know what I mean? And that's the thing, like we as a community like should be able to talk about that too. Like, that's a real thing, and to be completely honest and transparent, I used to think that, growing up, because this is how I was taught, this is how I thought suicide was something considered selfish. I used to be like, oh my God, how could you do that to, your family? You have kids, you have whatever. It's so much more deeper than that. I mean, you literally like are not well. Like, for example, do we say that about people who pass away from cancer? Do we say, oh my God, you're so selfish? How could, like, it's not like that. You know what I mean? And it took me a while to learn that as well. So with that being said, I mean, there's never really a time where I'm like, nothing needs to happen for you to be like, I should go to therapy. Granted, if you're experiencing any of these kind of symptoms or any kind of, any kind of issue.
Your situation is the 911 emergency.
Yes, exactly. But if you feel like, I'm going through a lot, I got a lot on my plate these days, we're going through it. You don't even have to feel any of the three that I just named, for example. It's never too early or never too.
If you live in America, you definitely need to seek therapy. Because and if you've been going through this pandemic, you definitely need to seek therapy. Because listen, with everything that's happening, if you do not seek help nowadays, do not be fooled and say everything is good, because everything is not good. You do need someone from the outside to really look in and to really heal. And that's why, like, Reiki and healers and pastors, everything, I believe in, there's all levels of everything. I feel like humans are made up in so much. People limit themselves, they box themselves in. They're like, oh no, I could only seek therapy from this person, or I could counsel from this person. No, the way life is set up, there is so many things that we have to go through and that we're still going to go through in life, and we need to be mentally prepared.
Healing for a human is in many aspects. It comes from taking care of internally your health, your organs. Go to the doctor, get yourself checked, check out what you eat. Don't eat fatty stuff, don't eat fried stuff. Like, have a balance, that healthy part. The physical part is important. Working out, making sure that, physically you're active. All those things are great. Taking care of your skin, of your hair, the physical aspect, the way that you present yourself out to the world, to society, that's very important.
That
also taking care of your mental, going to therapy. The mental aspect is important. And also for those that are spiritual, your spiritual healing as well, your aura, your energy, because we're all made out of energy. It all depends how you see life. But all those things is like, there's many levels into healing, there's many levels into taking care of you as a human, as a person, the body, the spirit, the soul. There's many levels to this. And one of the most important levels, like the one that we had today, is get your mind right. That's why I want you to tell them, where can they find Get Your Mind Right? Websites, social media platforms, phone number, whatever the case may be.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again. And Amara, also back to your other question though, really quick too. Like, hopefully
Yeah.
everybody has to get your mind right in their city. If not, you can always, like I said, check your health insurance to see who is in the network to see if you can find a therapist that way. But yeah, I recommend looking up organizations, nonprofits in your community because they will offer free or reduced price therapy. Also, like I said, Latinx therapist. She's a great one on Instagram. She's got all of the she's got all the resources out there. She's got the Spanish speaking therapist, a whole directory from all over the country. I mean, she's great. So resources like that are a great place to look. But if you're in Chicago, get your mind right. We're located like in Pilsen here in Chicago. We also have on Instagram, we are at Get Your Mind Right. And then also to healthyhoodchicago.com because that's where we're located inside of Healthy Hood Chicago. Instagram as well, Healthy Hood Chicago. And you can always reach out, DM. There is the link in bio. There's a form to fill out if you want to, start receiving therapy. We can add you on there as well. I think it's a really great, a great way to, like I said, start the conversation. And if you feel like maybe you want to give it a try because I hope this podcast inspired you to, or at least look into it. Like I said, reach out, just, DM or, go online and look up for ones local in your city as well.
We're going to be putting all your information also on our Instagram, which is exactly Amara, and also on our YouTube channel. You can also go, guys, and check out Exactly Amara on YouTube. We'll put all your information there just in case you weren't able to, grasp it right away so that you can find help. And I'm not even going to lie. I'm even willing to film not all of it, but part of my first therapy because I am very curious into figuring out how can therapy really help me and make me feel better and make me a better person. So Paulina, Mira, I want to thank you so much, right, Stevey? We are so grateful that we had you today on Exactly Amara. We learned so much. This was so helpful. And Exactly Amara is not just about being raunchy and fun and talking about sex and all these great things and all these fun things that we talk about, but it's also... I know sex is good. But hey, listen, you might need some therapy for that too. Hey, there's therapy for everything.
Yeah.
But being able to give people a platform where you can also find resources of help, whatever the case may be. Exactly Amara does that as well. We have been honored to have Paulina today with us, providing all this great information for you guys. And like I said, don't feel crazy. Don't feel like you got a problem. Everybody needs therapy, like she said it. Everybody has some healing to do. And for today, this has been a wrap. Así que thank you so much to our guest, Paulina Roe.
Yes,
thank
Paulina,
you so much
thank you for helping me get my mind right.
Yes.
Thank you both so much.
Of course. And that's a wrap. Gracias, mi gente bella. Muchísimas gracias. Don't forget to join us every Thursday, okay? Every Thursday for all new episodes of Exactly Amara. And you can also find us on Instagram and on Twitter at Exactly Amara La Negra ALN, and also at Exactly Amara. Also on Twitter, you can find us as well. And most definitely, you guys have to go follow, show some love and support to My Cultura podcast on Instagram. Stevey, what's your Instagram so the people know where to follow you too?
It's Stevey, but it's STEVEYNEWNEZ. ABCDEFGHIJKLMNOP.
What? Hey. All of our episodes are available on YouTube, so just go search us for Amara La Negra or Exactly Amara. Don't feel like you missed an episode because you can always come back and check us out. Mi gente bella, muchísimas gracias for staying in with us this Thursday. We will be back next Thursday on Exactly Amara.